Welcome to the Rocky Garza Show, where we dive deep into the truths that shape extraordinary leaders. I just wrapped up this incredible conversation with Matt Plumer, and let me tell you, this is one you're not going to want to miss. Matt Plumer is an expert financial and business coach, acclaimed speaker, and author transforming real estate agent success. Now, Matt specializes in empowering real estate agents to create sustainable wealth, unlock true time and money freedom. And so with his strategic expertise, Matt really helps agents build more profitable, sustainable businesses that don't just generate income, but more importantly, they really allow you to build the dream lifestyle that real estate agents aspire to have. But by working with Matt, real estate professionals discover how to grow their profits, how to scale their businesses, and most importantly, how to design a full life that is full of opportunities, financial freedom, and lasting success. Today, we talked about his story, how did he get to where he is, but more importantly, what is he facing today? And as somebody who's a coach and a consultant, I think oftentimes we get in this position where we're supposed to have it all together, where we're supposed to have all the answers, and what he even has to do and face and what he has to overcome on a regular basis in order to continue to build and maintain the life that he has today. This episode is packed with honesty, actionable insights, and more importantly, hopefully a perspective that'll really help challenge the way you think and what it means for you to lead authentically. Let's jump in. Welcome to the Rocky Garza Show, where we explore the collision of a deeply meaningful life and a wildly impactful career. I'm your host, Rocky Garza, and with over a decade of experience as a coach, consultant, and keynote speaker to many Fortune 500 companies, I'm here to share personal stories and expert advice to help you gain clarity, build confidence, and discover that you too can build the life you actually want. Whether you're a high achiever looking for a more full life or a leader striving for professional success with purpose, this podcast was designed with you in mind. Thanks so much for being on the show, Matt. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Hey, man, it's always an honor to spend some time with you today.
I'm with you. All right, so I already let the people know what you do professionally. We've already hit that there on our intro. So let's just jump straight into it. I got a question for you here. I think oftentimes one thing that I find again and again and again, especially with business owners, is that if there's ever a person that at least is forced to begin to understand the duality in life, that like two things exist at the same time, typically almost always, even though we're always looking for the single right answer, right? I think both things are true. Life is awesome and it's really hard. Business is, oh man, on Fridays we golf. I love that about you. We always ask folks, what's one thing about you that's different or unique? And one of the things that you said was on Fridays we golf. You've created a life and a business and a lifestyle that like not the other way around, right? Where you have a profitable business, you do things that you love. And I always joke, as best I can on Fridays, I pickleball. I take a little Matt from there. But talk to me about when you hear me say, hey, tell me about Matt. When you hear that statement, tell me about yourself. The reality of today, not the history of Matt. What comes to mind for you?
It's the thing that so many people don't understand of running a business, running a household, left hand talking to right hand, and keeping the chaos as stress-free and as normal as it possibly can. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm called on this planet to serve the people in front of me without an agenda. The more people that I get to do that, the more times I get to play golf. Husband, I'm a golfer, and I'm here to help people create stress-free wealth.
You know, you said something really interesting there, Matt, saying that knowing that when you own who you are, own what you were put here to do, the result of that, again, and we'll talk about this in a minute, the result of that not has been without difficulty, right? But the result has been creating a life that you and your wife enjoy and the dog enjoys and the golf course enjoys and even moving where you moved because you enjoy all those sort of things. What gets in the way? What gets in your way of got the place, got the house, playing golf, doing it on Fridays, going on trips, so many wonderful things, which again, we don't want to get rid of those, but on the day-to-day basis, what gets in the way of those things happening?
You know, I think we can, as entrepreneurs, we can beat ourselves up and that we're not far enough where we should be, right? And I think that always goes to judging us against the past or judging us against the future, our future selves versus our past selves, which is why I'm a huge believer of always measuring backwards, right? We could just have come so far. And getting into the weeds of the stuff, well, that at the end of the day, Rocky, just doesn't matter. And it doesn't necessarily, it's not that it doesn't matter for the growth of the client or the business, but it also doesn't matter for the person doing it. And that's just a huge journey that I'm on right now, is finding those who's in my life that can own it, that do love doing it, and let them go be their creative selves. Because if I'm trying to figure it out, we're going to be in the same place for a very long time.
Okay. When you have found yourself trying to do everything on your own, you find yourself moving exponentially slower, if in fact sometimes not really moving at all. Very active, very, very low, high activity, low progress.
Yeah, high activity, low progress, potentially even running enthusiastically in the wrong direction.
Okay, so maybe even progress excitedly in a direction that is not even valuable to where we really hope to go.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I always ask myself. I always ask the client. I think you and I probably fall guilty of this. We ask the client before we even ask ourselves, is if we're going to climb a ladder, let's at least make sure it's leaning against the right wall.
Hmm.
Regardless of how many rungs the ladder has, let's make sure it's all against the right wall, because we can change the ladder, we can change the position. But once we get 4 feet, 6 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet up, it's not a jump down. We got to walk all the way back down. We got to move it. And so as we start to build these machines, let's make sure we're building the machine that's going in the right direction. Let's make sure we're leaning it, putting the ladder against the right wall. And sometimes that requires us to slow down to speed up.
Is there anything in the last 3 months, 6 months, I don't know, give me a closer time frame, where you had a recognition that either wrong ladder, wrong wall, wrong step, we could even say presently, right now, building ladder, exhausted from maybe right ladder, right wall, right steps, but also
Tired.
the ladder, I could use a nap, because if I got to keep going on this thing, it's going to be, tell me about that.
Yeah. And so, I mean, just came out of it, right? Just came out of a big event, 3, 4, 5 days, multiple cities, multiple events, and just run down and crashed, and literally looked at self and said, hey, if you are going to go build the thing, one, you can't do it alone. Two, you have to suck it up for 90 days. Like, these 90 days are going, you're going to look back and thank your future self is going to look back and thank the current Matt for those 90 days between February 1st and April 30th. It's going to be, this is the season where a lot of things get messy and a lot of things get scrapped and a lot of things get broken. However, 12, 18, 24 months from now, we'll be able to actually come back to this point and say, it was because you came home early from a trip, or you made this hire, or you made this shift. I'm going through a significant shift operationally with our business right now. I think it's key. I think it's going to be powerful 90 days from now, 180 days from now, so that we have one singular target to serve over 100 people inside of the wealth department this year. That's the only target. There is no other target. How many podcasts? Sure. How many videos? Sure. Those are all things that have to be done, but there's only one target we're aiming at in 2025.
How did you land on that? And I think back, and I'll throw a little bit of foundational things here, because I want to know how you landed there, because your journey hasn't been linear. It hasn't been up and to the right the whole time. You are absolutely a different human being than you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even more, right? Almost in every aspect of you and your life, totally different, and your wife's life as well. So be able to be in a spot today where you're saying, like, we're going to tear some stuff up. It's going to get messy, but I know that here, how do you arrive at a place to say the 90-day mess is worth it so that my future self can say thank you? Because I think that's a pretty significant place to be that I don't think the average individual just naturally arrive. I don't think back up. I don't think any of us just naturally arrive there because we were like, you know what I'm going to do now? How does that occur?
It's so much of it, and I talk about this in our coaching and conversations, is stabilize the present to structure the future. We have to stabilize the present to structure the future. And so these last 5.5, 6 years of having these conversations have stabilized the present, right? The coaching product or the conversation, or the consulting fees.
We're going to go back because I want to make sure people hear the time frame. The last 5 years,
5 years.
not the first month of this year. The last 5 years have stabilized the business such that now, like literally very presently, you can begin to structure it the way that you want.
Yeah. I go back, if you look at, I just had this conversation with the new person we onboarded. I have 4 core values that I believe are pillars in my life.
Okay.
However, I'm dating them for 90 days just to make sure that this is not only who I am, but it's who I need to become. The 2 are commitment and consistency. Commitment and consistency. The other 2 are health and financial stability. Who would have thought a financial coach would have financial stability as one of their top 4 core values? And so I look at this, and it all started with a commitment of a goal that Melinda and I set 6 years ago, which was to move or build a coaching business online that I had never coached anybody on the planet. I didn't have a way to charge anybody any money 6 years ago. And on 2020, I had 319 one-on-one discovery calls that allowed the plane to get off the deck. It was brutal. And people are like, why did you build a one-on-one business instead of a group coaching business? And I'm like, because I need to go get the reps. Because if I'm going to coach 1,000 people, I better have 1,000 individual conversations. And that 5 years ago stabilized it to a place where I was able to hit pause, slow down, bring the right people into my world, change the oil, right? NASCAR talk, right? Take a wedge out over here, make a tight thing over here. Next thing you know, it's okay. This is how we're going to build the machine that's going in the right direction, then climb the ladder that's leaning against the right pole.
What gets in your way?
75-degree weather in January and February really get into my way. That really gets in my way. It's going to be
for those of you that are unaware of why that'd be the case, that's because that's a wonderful golf weather in Vegas when you can go play golf when it's cold everywhere else in the rest of the world.
It's cold everywhere else. It's
for those of you that are thinking, why would good weather be a bad thing? That's because my boy wants
because I'm going to go spend 5 hours on a golf course this afternoon when I probably should be doing something else. So in all seriousness, I get in my own way, right? Just like everyone else, distractions get in my own way. And so distractions aren't bad. Distractions happen. It's acknowledging them and moving on. On the golf course, everybody's moving. If you look at a PGA Tour player, everybody's moving. There's chaos around. It's not quiet. You don't hear anything when you're on TV because it's just in this little 7-foot box between you and the golfer. But I mean, it's chaos, right? And you don't see chaos on social media. You don't see chaos when you and I are having a podcast and 2 dogs are running around crazy and Melinda is doing this or cleaners are coming in. Like, it is chaos around here. Understanding that stuff happens and knowing how to acknowledge it, right? Seeing a client come in, like having a coaching call and having a notice pop up that a client is canceling their agreement. When I'm in the middle of a conversation with you, you have to acknowledge it. Okay, compartmentalize, but I can't take that away from this conversation, right?
Right.
I think what the people that are following you on your journey that are plugging into this podcast is embracing those, acknowledging it, and then just moving on and staying course. The conversation I had with my new operations team member this morning was like, nothing else matters other than this. And she was like, okay, but why are you telling me that? I was like, because I'm going to come to you every 4 days with a new appointment, with a new request, with a new thing. And if it doesn't lead to this many people joining this program, it's a no. Or at least it's a no for the next 90 days. And I need you to make sure that I honor that commitment. Because if we're just out gunslinging this, Rocky, and every other entrepreneur, we're going to build something we hate. We're going to build something that we don't like, that's high paying, that keeps us on a job, and it doesn't allow us to grow and scale and actually be in the now of being in success and actually thriving to go do the things that we're called to do outside of a camera and a microphone or stage.
When you find yourself distracted, when you find yourself, we'll go back to a couple of things you said earlier, doing too much, trying to do it all yourself, 72-degree weather, pick a category of things where we get in our own way. What mechanism, if you have one, and how do you know that that's where you are? And then From there, what do you do about it?
Well, this is real life. This phone has everything on it. The world is on this phone.
Okay.
And I go to the gym. I live in Las Vegas, and I will tell you this, moving from the East Coast and living in the Eastern time zone my entire life, except for the last 30 months, one of the biggest challenges that I have since moving to the Pacific time zone, waking up at 4 a.m., I am 3 hours behind 85% of Facebook. And I feel like I have to catch up. So I wake up at 4 and I get to the gym at 5:30 and I leave the gym at 7 or 8. And I'm like, the heck did I do for 4 hours? It was this. Now, it wasn't me just messing around, but it was the notification. It was everything. And I know I can silent all of it, but it's still here. Insert this phone that has 2 apps on it, my workout app and the Audible app. This is the phone I take to the gym.
Mm.
And when I was and I went to the gym, I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning. I got to the gym at 4:45 and I was on the way home at 6. As I'm driving home, I realized, what am I doing? I can't look at the stoplight. I should check Facebook. I should check my text messages. My whole world could be ending right now. Something could be happening at my house and I don't know about it. And I'm perfectly okay. And in that moment, I realized that I had addressed the issue that's been a problem. So now, where is that in your day-to-day business? Where is that in email? Where is that in your meetings? Where is that in your coaching calls? Where is that in your leadership calls? Where is that in your dates with your spouse? This thing doesn't go on dates anymore.
How did you get to that? How did you get to that place? I mean, I could not agree with what you are saying any more than I currently am. How, though, did you get to that place, and or what did you experience that led you to go, I'm going to literally get another device that only has 2 apps on it? Because I think in theory, I hear that. I think most listeners hear that and we're like, that's of course. And you can get the app on your phone. You can get the bricked app that you got to like go to another thing to like unlock it to. Like you don't have to buy another iPhone to do what you're saying, right? Leave it in the car. Just work out to the music they're playing in the gym. There's a lot of ways we could do the things you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
That typically, though, having a way to do it is not the thing that's preventing us from doing it. So what happened to you to where you said, not only have I identified a way to do it, but I'm actually going to do it?
It all came from my marriage and the time that I was on vacation with my spouse, Melinda, with my wife, or sitting around here and, doing whatever, right? Distracted and not being present with the number one relationship that I have. And so it all started when you and I have talked about this, about being like, what are the things that you're most proud of? And is honoring Melinda, her birthday week, and creating a world where we can go travel the world the week of her birthday. That's her number one goal every year, is to go to a new country for her birthday. And I said, I'm going to work so hard and so intentionally, and it's going to be this much money. I'm not going to waste it by being attracted to this phone and whatever's on this phone. Like, I coach entrepreneurs on their business and personal finances. That is not heart surgery.
Mm-hmm.
It's not open brain surgery, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's dollars and cents, and how much money did you make and how much money did you spend?
How did you get there, though? Because I think, again, I'm with you. And
I got there.
I'm going to go on a limb here. I don't think I have any heart surgeons listening to the podcast. So I think every listener you and me are talking to are like you and I.
I got there because I was sick and tired of wasting time and not being present with the people I care most about.
Okay, let's go one step further. How did you arrive and say, no, you know what? Not only am I sick and tired of this, I'm not doing it anymore.
Or let's just call it what it is. Melinda's like, hey, who's more important, your phone or me?
Okay, so now we're getting to, so there's a moment in your life where your wife challenges the things you say you want against what it is that you're actually showing that you want. And she says, is our marriage more valuable to you than your ability to be a coach and a consultant and a speaker and solve other people's problems?
Yeah. 100%. And I think if ask the entrepreneurs and they believe that their spouse is the number one, like, I will never, ever, ever put a coaching client above Melinda, right? Anyone, a friend, anything. And my actions were not in alignment with that value. So I was violating not only a core value, but I was violating something. More importantly, I was violating her core values, which is a signature, which is trust, which is honesty, right? Which is integrity.
Right.
So it had nothing to do with my core values. It had to do with everything with hers. And when you violate your wife's core values, we got issues.
That's
You're
right.
gonna have to, Rocky, you're gonna have to get yourself a second phone.
That's right. Yes, I'm with you. When there was a recognition that, and I think really values, if we get down to it, let's go back to oftentimes I find with entrepreneurs, the things we say we value most in our business are fairly closely related to what we value most as people as well, because especially in our field, we are the business in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
So you said, go back, I'm a messy Zam. If I do, please correct me. You said consistency, you said commitment, you said financial stability and
Health.
Okay. Make sure I had those right. Okay. So, but I think if we look at those, okay, in pursuit of financial stability, yes, I may be choosing work over Melinda occasionally, but that wasn't on purpose because I'm trying to make us money. Okay. I'm going to the gym, I'm working out. I may not be with her, but if I'm not healthy, I can't love her well. So, okay, not that one. I think we get a consistency. I mean, you were consistent in the wrong ways, but you were consistent, right? Okay. So then I think if we go back to
consistent.
Yeah, that's right. That's a different episode though. I think if we go back into commitment, I think it's just really unique. It's really important to call out because a lot of us, if we would do the work to define what it is that we value as humans, we could better understand the conflict we have in relationships. We teach this all the time. I love hearing it in real time from you because you had a value commitment that you were committed. Go back to your analogy before though, but your commitment was to potentially the wrong ladder on the wrong wall at the wrong time. So you were going, I'm not jeopardizing my values. I'm being me. I'm living my best life. I'm doing all the things I say I'm committed to doing at the cost of the thing that I am most committed to, that I love the most. Again, we'll now put words, we'll sort of flesh out the theory on ourselves. It doesn't necessarily be 100% true about Matt and Melinda, but to the extent by which we hadn't realized, asked, or committed to their values. So while we stand confident, often going, I am doing exactly who I am. I am who I say that I am. And that can also cause conflict if we're unaware of the people in our life that we love, what they value, because most often in time, relational conflict is values-based. Rarely are we ever fighting about what we did or didn't do. I've never once heard Melinda say or share or heard you say that she said, I hate Matt's business. I think Matt's a bad coach. I think he should change his job. I never heard her or you say that about her in any way, shape, or form. She's not upset about financial stability. She's not upset about health. She's healthy also. She works out all the time. She's not upset about commitment. She's not upset about consistency. She's upset that the things that she values, we forgot to ask her. And then we forgot to participate in those with her. And instead we just said, I'll do me and you should catch up.
Yep.
And rarely does that go well for us in relationships.
It'll only go well enough. It'll only go well just long enough for it to not.
Yeah. And
gradually and then suddenly.
That's right. And then it goes back to you saying you're onboarding a new staff person, which I know is a huge risk for all of us. We bring on somebody and it's not just general contract. It's not, we're like, oh, what are we going to do? And now I'm responsible for somebody else. This is both a reminder to listeners and encouragement to you. Everything you just described about Melinda and then you talking to your new staff person about, hey, here's our values. We often say that we lead with our values, but we need to coach with theirs. In the next few weeks, like your new staff person, we need to know what they value and what are the most important things to them so that we can coach to those values in the direction of our ladder on our building and the height we want it to be. We want to allow people to be themselves in that same way. I think we find again and again and again, I love you sharing your example of your marriage because I often find if we will allow ourselves to make a self-reflective connection related to our personal life, we can always translate it to business. But I think we set ourselves up for failure if we're only ever looking for business examples and then we try to translate those to our personal. We don't ever do it. We stop. We will always sell ourselves short and we won't. So I so appreciate your example of you and your wife because I think that automatically translates into you and your staff and then you and your business and then us and our clients and then so on and so forth because we sort of take that self and personal focus first.
Yep. it's so apparent sitting in this seat and coaching that person when it comes to business and personal finances, and the spouse that's not the entrepreneur, is not in the business or not an employee of the business, hears and sees hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars of revenue coming in, thinking that is how much the household makes.
Yep.
And where left hand doesn't talk to right hand to say, the business makes, this is what we do with this money, because
Yep.
this money is already taken care of.
That's right. That's right.
That would be my encouragement to all entrepreneurs, even if a brain surgeon is listening in.
Yep. And
Right. All the entrepreneurs, all the 6, 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneurs, is understanding and bringing your spouse along that journey. They don't need to be in the weeds of anything, but having them and having that conversation, because it's never the problem. It's always the symptom that leads to the next thing. And that just people not having, couples or partners not having a clear understanding of not only the financial values, but just how the path of money works and how it gets from point A to point B.
And I think take money and replace that with time. Take time, replace that with priorities. Take priorities, replace that with energy expended with friend groups. Literally take any seemingly measurable category in our life. And if we are expected or expecting to share that with anyone else in our life, they are responsible for some level of that also. And we're not having that dialogue. The assumption's always going to be that we're doing it wrong. The assumption's always going to be that we're leaving something out. The assumption, I don't care how kind you are, how nice you are, every one of you listening is making an assumption on a daily basis that somebody didn't do the thing you wanted them to do. Because we're all hoping that somebody takes care of us and is thinking about us. Because we're human and we want someone to think about and care about us. It's a natural human thing. I find where we advance ourselves in leadership and relationships and in marriages is when we, not always, but when we consistently, we'll use your word, when we are consistently allowing ourselves to be an initiator. You don't have to be the fully responsible one. You don't have to be the driver all the time in its own. But if there's something you care about, initiate it. If there's somebody you want to text them, and if they don't text you back, don't be offended. You didn't say, I really want to text them because I need them to text me. You said, I want to text them, and you did your part. Thank you, checkbox, move on. Where we get caught is we say one, but we do the other. We say, I just want to text them. And what we mean is, I hope if I reach out, they reach back out to me because I'm just only reaching out to them because I want them to reach out to me. And that math doesn't math in any aspect of our life.
No, that relationship, but again, another conversation, but I mean, that's where people work in the waves of like addition versus subtraction leads to multiplication.
Yeah, I think a great way for us to cap it off here is to ask ourselves, where in your life are you looking for addition? Where in your life are you saying, hey, there's something else I want to grow? Where's something else I want to have? Where's there something and in order to do that, typically it requires us to let go of something else, have a season of, you go back to your words, have a season to say that, hey, right now it's going to be a little chaotic. We're going to break some stuff. It's not going to be smooth so that it can be smooth, right? Mm-hmm. And then I think all across the board, it's the same. Chelsea on our team, we literally had the conversation. I was like, how awesome is it now when someone joins the path? We get a notification that says they joined. And then that's it. Every email they need to get, they're going to get. Every weekly reminder they're going to get. Literally everything they need to do, they're going to do. The company's going to ship their booklet to them. We get a notification that says you have a new member. And we get to go, high five, we have a new member, because we've spent 18 months looking for walls and ladders and rungs on the way we want them to go. And it has been not sexy. Mm-hmm. And marriage is the same way, staff is the same way, leadership is the same way, all across the board.
Love it.
Love it. All right, my friend, I so appreciate you being with us, Matt. I appreciate your vulnerability, your candor. I love your ability to recognize the things you love most, where those are, and how we begin to walk forward in that direction. As always, if you are interested on what Matt has going on, you can catch that here in just a minute. We'll get you a copy of his ebook and so on. Matt, I so appreciate you, and thank you so much for being on the show.
Awesome. Thanks, Rocky.
Thank you for tuning into this powerful conversation with Matt Plumer. You can download his free ebook to start your stress-free wealth journey at mattplumer.com/ebook. I hope his story challenged you, inspired you, and really reminded you of what's possible when we lead with authenticity. If this episode resonated with you and you're ready to take the next step in your leadership journey, then I would love to invite you to my upcoming workshop, Lead without losing yourself. In this workshop, we're going to dive deeper into the tools, strategies, and clarity you need in order to lead with purpose and confidence. It's not about corporate jargon, it's about real, actionable growth that works for you and your team. Our spots are limited, so head over to rockygarza.com/confidence. Again, that's rockygarza.com/confidence in order to secure your spot today. As always, remember to be seen, be known, and lead well. Until next time, I'm Rocky Garza, and when life gets hard, prove it.